as a review, and especially for those that were absent yesterday, I'd like to go ahead and go over what we covered yesterday. Okay? You don't need these things today, so don't pull them out, but just going over them. Yesterday we went through and created our rough draft of our service menu, and we created our headers. Okay, that we did yesterday. We went through a salon service menu, saw their headers, we went through the pricing, how to price, and how to book appointments. We booked some appointments and saw how much money we could potentially make, how to block time, etc., etc. The client consultation form and the client nail record card, these are for another lesson, another day. We went through just very briefly and said that each service has its own particular table setup. So you'll be learning those as we go. In the future, you will be creating a nail polish line for your brand. These are the bottles, just as an idea or example. Sorry, the copy is not a very good one. But you are going to be creating a nail polish and then getting some colors for your collection. That's a later project. I mentioned that these 3 front and or back pages are study guides for your semester exam. So questions for your semester exam is going to be from these 3 pages. Then you have a front and back. The back has where you can find the answer to these questions. There's not going to be a copy paste, but this information is going to be in your test. So this is your semester exam study guide. Okay? The next thing that we are doing today is this here, our nail construction. Okay? Let me turn one of the lights down, which I thought I had done so. But with your nail construction, it's very important to understand the nail, the anatomy of the nail, so that way as you're going through the rest of the school year, when I say apply the acrylic from sidewall to sidewall and run it down, you know what a sidewall is. Okay? So, this is the foundation of the rest of the school year, so pay attention. Okay? You'll have time at the end of class for your phones, so I don't want to see phones out. And this is what your page will somewhat look like. This is a copy, cut and paste, so it's going to be a different layout, but you're going to color and label your pieces, except you're going to keep it in your packet. Okay? Questions? I'm going to zoom this in here like so. We're going to start at this top here. This is a bird's eye view. A bird's eye view means that you're here like so, and the bird is flying over the top of your head, and the bird is looking down, and the bird, whatever the bird sees, that's the bird's eye view. It's the top of something. Okay? This one here is a cross section, meaning they took the finger, they chopped it in half, and that's what you see from the chopped side. Okay? So we're going to start with our bird's eye view. Please don't shade in with marker. You can label with marker, but don't shade in with marker, because then when we move on to the next page behind, it's going to bleed through and you're not going to be able to see very well. Okay? Alright, with our nail construction, this is the anatomy of the nail. Okay? And we are going to start with our free edge. So go ahead, at the tip of the finger, create a upside down smile line, like so. So where the nail grows out from the tip of the finger, the base of the nail, okay, the length, that is called the free edge. Okay? Free edge. The free edge, and we'll color it all in, is the length of the nail. It is determined by the client how long they want their nail. There are some people that have nervous habits and they bite their nails. We'll get to the vocabulary of all that at a later chapter. People that bite their nails will bite their free edge off and just chew it off. Some people eat their tip of the nails, the free edge. Okay? Some people get so nervous that they chew, and then they literally chew their free edge so much that they no longer have a free edge. Like they have nubbins where you can see this, like you can see this part, all of this is skin, like the tip of the finger, and they've stunted the growth, they've pushed the growth of the nail back, so they have super short nails. So it's important to know what that looks like and what that is and why that is, because when you have a client that comes in and they want their nail, they want acrylic and they have itty bitty little nubbins, how are you going to do that? Right? How are you going to put a nail tip on that? And they want the long stiletto booger pickers? There's no way. Okay, so you need to understand the anatomy of the nail so you know when you're servicing clients what you can or can't do to the client. Okay? So that is your free edge. Very important to understand that the free edge is what you shape or what you file and what you cut. Okay? The next thing that we have is the nail wall. So, there's two. This arrow right here, we're going to skip one arrow. Right, the second arrow, we're going to skip that really quick. But on the side of the nail, on both sides, this particular nail is a little bit rounded on the sides, but you have two lines on the side of the nail. Okay, and it's not actually the top of the nail, it's between the nail and the skin, right? That is called the nail wall. Okay, some people call it the nail groove. There's two, one on the right, one on the left. Every nail in the hand and every toenail has it. The nail wall. This is where this is like the train track. The train tracks are there to keep the train on track going forward. So the two nail walls are here to help and guide the nail to grow outward and straight. Every nail has two, one on the right, one on the left. Okay? That is a nail wall. Then, you are also, the next one that you're going to have is going to be called, okay, your lanula. It's this little half-shaped crescent that you see here. Some people have it, some people don't. They don't know the scientific reason for it or why it's there or the explanation of what it does, or why some people don't have it, or why some people's are big and dominant and some you can barely see it, or some you can't see at all. But they're there, but you just can't see it with the naked eye. So here you have the lanula. L-U-N-U-L-A. Lanula. Lanula should remind you of la luna. In Spanish, it's the moon. La luna. So, okay, the moon, the horizon of the moon coming up like so, that should remind you of the moon, la luna. Look at your fingernails if you don't have acrylics on or anything covering your nails. The little whitish, kind of transparent looking thing here, that's what the lanula is. Again, some people have it, some people don't. Some people very light, some people very dominant. That is la luna. Okay? Then you have, next, this little smile line, very thin piece right here. This is the cuticle. The cuticle is a thin, white, or clear, it's transparent. It's a transparent covering, per se. It covers the top of the nail. It's sticky on the bottom, so if you touch your finger, it's not sticky, but underneath, it's sticky because it sticks to the top surface of the nail. And the cuticle grows from this area right here. So as the nail is growing, because it's sticky, it's stuck to the top of the nail. So it's growing, your nail is growing, and it's stretching, and sometimes you can see how stressed your skin is when you don't push the nail back. And if you look at your nails now, you can probably see that stress on the skin, on that part of your nail. I know I need a manicure, don't judge, okay? Alright, so when you don't push the cuticle back, okay, and you don't nourish your cuticles with cuticle oil like lotion on hands, okay, it stretches so much that it can't stretch anymore and it tears. So your cuticle will tear, and then you have hangnails, which are these little pieces of skin that you sit there in math class and you're chewing off. Some people eat them, which is kind of gross because you're eating your body. Think about it, okay? So then sometimes they bleed, right, when you pull that little piece of skin off, okay? You're shaking your head like, yeah, I've done that, I've seen that, okay? Well, then you have a cut in your skin, you expose the underneath of your skin. And because there's a quote-unquote hole, right, an opening in your skin, you touch everything with your hand. So if there's bacteria somewhere, remember life before COVID, there's other kinds of bacteria out there, right? When you touch things with your hands, you're exposing yourself to an infection. So if a client comes in and they just a real nail biter, or the client that comes in that doesn't push their cuticles back, but their cuticles just grow and there's just a lot, and they don't push it back and they tear, then they chew that off. Sometimes it's super irritated and super red and they've got scabs and it's just like bleeding, and there's just you can't soak their fingers in acetone, right? Your skin is a barrier to just your front line, the safety and protection for your insides, right? So if your skin's open and you stick their fingers in acetone to soak off their acrylic, right? That's not right. That's not good. It's really soaking up into their skin. Okay? So you have to make sure that if it's a client that comes in that's just exposed, like what if they have HIV, or what if they have some kind of something inside, and then you're over there massaging their hands, doing their service, but then you have paper cuts on your fingers, right? You see how that would be an issue? Okay? So make sure that you teach your clients to push their cuticle back and to nourish it with cuticle oil. Okay? That's the top. Oh, one more thing. This top section, this arrow we missed, if you'll color that, this is your nail plate. The nail plate extends over the whole top of the nail. Okay, it is the surface of the nail. Now, it's not just this section we're coloring, okay? If you just color the whole thing, per se, this is your nail plate. Just like a food plate, food sits on top of the plate, okay? Your product sits on top of your nail plate, okay? So you want to make sure that you pay attention to that, okay? So your nail polish, your gel, your acrylic, all the product goes on top of the nail plate. And that's what that part of the nail is, okay? Now, the nail plate is thin. Take your hand and look at your nails like so. Straight forward, as if your fingers are pointing your tip to your eyeballs. Do you see how thin that is? Your nail plate is thin. It's as thin as the paper. Imagine, and y'all, I know I need a manicure, okay, I apologize. Imagine you shaving this down thinner. How much more thin can you go? The paper's already thin, right? If you look at your nail this way, your nails are already thin. How much more can you make them thinner before something gets damaged? Have you ever gotten your nails done and they hurt afterwards? And you're like, oh, my fingers hurt. Not supposed to hurt. Okay? Your nail plate is there to protect your fingertip. If you get rid of the nail plate, there's no protection, so then, yeah, definitely it's going to hurt. Also, too, you thin out the nail, so then you're when you push down on it, you're getting closer to what's underneath this nail right here, on the underneath of the nail plate. Okay? Have you ever gotten your nails done and you have like smile lines? Like they grow out and they're like little ridges that's on your nail plate? That's because the nail tech took the drill and angled it and pushed down and filed too much to do the refill or do the cuticle area. You can do nails without the drill. The drill was invented for speed, don't necessarily need it. Which is why I don't teach you the drill until the very, very end, because you can do it with the file. Keep in mind, look at your nail, it's already thin. If you file the top of the nail to prep the nail, or do it ever so often, like more often than not, you're damaging the nail. Okay, you're getting rid of that protection. Alright, here on this one, we're going to start on this top arrow, and we're going to work our way down. We are going to be adding one arrow to this tip here. Okay? Alright, so we have here this first arrow. This is our matrix. The matrix is the top part of where the nail grows. The nail is sandwiched, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Okay? This is your matrix. The matrix serves as a protective barrier in the area of where the nail grows. Okay? The next piece that you have, your next line here, is going to be your nail root. Your next arrow. We're just going to fill and color this bottom triangle in here. Your nail root, this area, okay, is where the nail grows from. Okay? The matrix and the nail root sandwich the nail together. Okay? If you damage either one of the two or both, your nail does not grow back the same. A lot of people, most people, buy shoes for looks, not for comfort. When you get older, you buy it for comfort. Okay? But as you buy shoes when you're young to when you get old, they sometimes squish your toes, right? And then you're walking, and the way your foot moves, the weight of your body pushes down on this part here, and then messes up the growth of your nail because you're damaging this part, because the weight of your body is constant. You're walking on it, you're messing it up. So it changes the growth of your nail, especially on feet. That's why toenails sometimes are kind of weird or gross looking. Okay? You need to buy shoes for comfort, yes, looks, but if they're squishing your toes, they're not just squishing your toes, they're actually ruining your nail growth. Not right now today, but in the years to come. Okay? So the nail growth is in between that. That's where the nail plate comes out of. Okay? Alright, the next arrow that we have, okay, we are going to color, and this is our mantle. And this is this top area, this little triangle top area right here. Right on top. Okay? Okay, so the mantle, M-A-N-T-L-E, also known as the nail fold. Okay? The mantle, just like a fireplace, you have the mantle on top, and the mantle is that piece of wood, okay, where you put all your decoration on top. It's the cover. So this is the cover to your nail. Okay? A lot of time, people, unfortunately, don't understand the difference between the cuticle and the mantle. And they cut the mantle, especially when you see those Russian manicures. They cut all of that protection off. When you get rid of the mantle, you have more exposure to infection that can go in the nail where the nail grows. The mantle is the shield. You're at war and you don't have your shield, then you're not protected. Okay? The mantle is a shield. Don't cut it. Okay? A lot of people cut the shield. They don't just cut the cuticle. They didn't go to school. They didn't pay attention. I'll change colors here. The next one that you have is going to be your cuticle. It's that next little triangle, this next little fold here. So that's your cuticle. with your cuticle, okay, again, this is a cross section. We've already done the bird's eye view. The cuticle is sticky on the bottom. That is what you push back. If they have excess cuticle, that is what you trim off. You only trim it if they have excess. If they don't have excess, you just push back and leave alone. Simply because it's very easy to confuse with the mantle. It is transparent, okay, and it's sticky at the bottom, and you've got to push it back to avoid hangnails and to avoid openings in your skin and infection. Then this little smile line, dotted line you have here, that is the lanula, L-U-N-U-L-A, lanula. Again, there's no scientific proof, reason, or knowledge about why it's there, why some people have it, why some people don't, why on some people is darker or lighter. It's there. Okay? Moving right along, you have I guess I can use a different color so it doesn't mix with this. You have this long piece right here, is horizontal line, and you can stop at the dotted shade. Okay, that there is your nail bed. Just like you lay in bed, the nail bed, okay, is there for the nail plate to lay on. If you ruin or damage your nail bed, it does affect the way your nail grows. Have you ever seen these white markings on your nail plate? And it's like, oh, such and such people are thinking about you, or oh, whatever. You know, there's like little things to say, that people say to it. When you have the little white markings on the top of your nail plate, that's a bruise. So at some point you hit yourself or you grab something and you bruised it, and now that bruise, it's white-ish, like a little cloudy looking. It's growing out. It's got to grow out to get rid of. Okay? Sometimes they're a little darker in color, but they're typically white. Okay? The next thing that you have, we're just going to color the top section, is the nail plate. Again, the nail plate, we've already talked about. It's thin. There's only so much more thinner that you can make it. Okay? You've got to be careful when you're filing a person's nail or buffing. You can do too much and you can cause more damage than good. Okay? That is your nail plate. Just a side view of it. Very thin. It's really this whole section, but we're just coloring the top. Okay? Then, moving this along. Okay? Here you have your free edge. So we're just going to color the bottom just for the graphic part of it. This is the free edge that we've talked about in the first design. Again, the free edge is just the length of the nail. Okay? It is determined, the length of the free edge is determined by the client. Okay? We're going to add an arrow. Very important arrow that we need to add. We're gonna write it here on the fingertip. Okay? This is the hyponychium. We're gonna color for visual. We're gonna color this section here. And we're gonna add our arrow here. This is the Hyponychium. Okay? Hyponychium. 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 If you take one of your fingers and push it underneath your opposite nail, there's that extra little cushy skin right underneath the free edge of the nail. Some people it hurts, some people it feels good when you push it back. Okay? That is a hyponychium. It's very important to know that that is there. Some people have it straight. Some people have it curved in. Imagine you going in with your nail clipper straight, and you don't push the little chunky part of your finger back. You cut the skin. Fingers gush, so when you're holding like this, it gushes towards you. Okay? So, be aware that the hyponychium is there when you're trimming. A lot of times, people will come into the salon and say, don't cut, just file. And that's probably because they've been cut before. Okay? Alright, pretend this word hyponychium is not there. Okay? And this whole bottom section that's not shaded, all of this is your skin, this is your fingerprint, layers of the skin, all of that. So we're just going to call it layers of the skin. Remembering that you do not have hair, okay, you do not have hair on the bottom of the palms of your bum of your hand and the palm of your hand. We're not going to go into that, the whole layer part. That's just skin, okay? That's where your fingerprint goes. The one last thing that we're going to come in and color in, okay? Well, I guess I can use a different color. Is going to be your bone. So the bone is obviously the middle part here. You can see there's 3 parts of the bones. 3 bones, but we'll color it all together. We won't get too crazy with all of that labeling and whatnot, but this is your bone. The bone is there so that your fingers are not squishy and wobbly like a gummy bear, the gummy worm. Right? You need structure. You need to be able to use your fingers to grab things. You need strong hands to do things. If you didn't have a bone, you wouldn't be able to do any of that. That's your bone. Okay? The bone, because it's at the tip of your hand, needs protection because it's such a small bone and you grab so much stuff with your hands, with your fingers, that we have a nail here to protect the tip of the bone. Then the cushy part of the bottom of your finger protects that part. Okay, nails are there for protection, not so that you can put acrylic and do the big booger picker nails and have fancy cute little designs on them. That's not what they're meant for, but it's what we made of them, but it's there for your protection. Okay? So that is your bone. Any questions on the anatomy of your nail? Your bell rings? Okay.